Hey, it's Dr. Cody Rall with Techforpsych. So today we're going to talk about the balance of attention that you need to do with meditation using the Muse Headband to optimize your Muse Meditation score. It's really important to realize that you can have too much or too little intensity on the attention itself when it comes to meditating with the Muse Headband, getting the birds, and getting a top score. So real quick, if you haven't hit subscribe, please do so and hit that bell so you get notifications when I upload new content. Really appreciate everybody's support. So this is coming out of experience that I have with myself and clients meditating with the Muse Headband. And one thing that became apparent in working with one client is that they were actually focusing too much on the breath. So in my program, we alternate between Muse Meditation and using mind-left neurofeedback. And this is a very high-performing client, very successful person, and very intense in certain situations. And what we found out is that they were actually in the mind lift setting, the performance setting, the mood enhancement setting, focusing too hard on the screen. They wanted the characters to go through the actual neurofeedback program. But what they found is that when they pulled back, when they dilated their attention, when they softened their focus, the characters would actually move through the screen much better and faster, and they would get higher scores. And physiologically what's happening is that when you focus really intensely on something, you're kicking in that frontal lobe, you're going into high beta, which is a pretty high vibration frequency of the brain, and you're stressing out, you're focusing so intensely on the breath, and you want everything to work. And we found out that's what he was actually doing with his meditation, both in the neurofeedback mind lift program and with the Muse Meditation. So in that learning, in that operant conditioning that was happening with his brain, with his mind when he was going through the mind lift program, we learned pull back, dilate the perception, and allow the brain to get into a soft focus, which is much better long-term solution for focus throughout the day and getting in a flow state and having high performance in the alpha theta state rather than burning yourself out in that high beta. And when we made that distinction, when his mind learned that from the neurofeedback program and the audio feedback and the visual feedback, he was able to apply that to the Muse Meditation and have much better meditation experiences. When you are focusing on the breath, I did my last video on mind dullness, and we were talking about these different ways to overcome mind dullness. You can actually focus too much on the breath. And I like to imagine it as if you were sitting in front of the ocean or in front of Lake Michigan and you were taking in the scenery. Every once in a while you might focus on an individual wave that's coming in and crashing down, but overall you're sitting back, you're taking in the full scenery in a soft focus, in a wide dilation of perception. And that's really what you should be playing around with. Is you can look at an individual wave every once in a while, but more often you should be pulled back and engaging in the entire experience. And that's really what's going to open up your mind to get this meditative joy and get these powerful jhana that I talk about. So too much attention, that could be one thing. The other side of that is too little attention. And I know this from my own experience. Sometimes when I'm meditating in the early morning, I think that I'm getting deep into a meditative state, but for some reason the neurofeedback will go chaotic and I don't really know why. One time I started dreaming and I realized actually what was happening is that I was not awake and engaged observing the breath in the meditative experience. I was actually slipping into sleep and I started dreaming a little bit. There's actually something called a hypnagogic hallucination that's quite common, that you'll hear sounds or voices or something that as you're sleeping in and out of that dream state on that periph between awareness and dreaming, and you're going into that theta delta range, which is actually too low. And I was actually quite impressed that the neurofeedback program picked that up and let me know that I was getting off track. So if you think that you're getting deep into a meditative state but you're not getting much birds, be aware that you might actually be getting too deep down into sleep. That might actually be what's happening. So a couple of quick tips on how to get out of that range. You can stretch before to sort of wake yourself up. You can stand up, you can splash cold water on your face, or you can do different visualization exercises. Or one of the things, you might be surprised to hear me talk about this, but you can actually pep yourself up by engaging in a little bit of sexual fantasies, to be honest. So if you want to wake yourself up, you can engage in some of that thought process just to turn everything on and get aware and awake to go into the meditation, and leave that behind actually as you go into the meditation. Napoleon Hill actually described this in Think and Grow Rich as sexual transmutation. You actually use sexual vibrant energy to go into different processes to be much more effective, and you can use that a little bit in meditation if you really find yourself slipping deep into a sleep state and need to wake yourself up a little bit. So those are some quick tips to get out of a deep sleep phase. And overall, that's what this video is about. You can have too much attention going into high beta, or you can have too little attention slipping deep into a theta delta state. And really you want to get a nice balance of calm, relaxed wakefulness, like you're looking out at an ocean at the breath, to get that optimal meditation experience and elicit these different wonderful physiological changing events like the jhana to make your meditation experience simply awesome. If you want to learn more about this, head to www.techforpsych.com/coaching if you want to learn directly from me. Really appreciate everybody's support. This is Dr. Cody Rall with Techforpsych. Talk to you again sometime soon.